Purge takes place in a not too distant future where once a year, Americans are allowed to commit any crime they wish during a 12-hour period. One family gets stuck harboring a target of another group's purge, so that group ends up going after the family. It's an interesting, albeit dumb, concept, but for the sake of seeing something different every once in a while, you kind of have to give some movies some leeway. Unfortunately, the movie doesn't make the most of its concepts, and just ends up being a standard home invasion movie, with an interesting setup at least. You have Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey playing well-to-do parents, a rebellious daughter, and a son who apparently sees the best in everyone. You're supposed to like the family, I guess, but they just make a lot of dumb decisions, and it feels like that their stupidity basically extends the plot. For example, in one scene, the daughter gets upset, she storms off, the family, and you can kind of understand why she does that, but the family makes very little effort to actually stop her while they can. And then the mom, the dad, and the son devise a plan, and then someone decides to go after the daughter alone, and then somehow everyone just ends up getting separated. And it's stuff like that that drags the movie out longer than it really needs to, because in reality, a handful of conversations could have really prevented a lot of the situations here. Another thing, the villains. They want the family to find the target who's hiding in their house, but cutting off the lights does not make that an easier task for the family. You're making it harder for them to do the thing that you want them to do so you don't kill them. When things finally get started, the filmmakers try to rack up the tension by shutting off the lights, and everyone's walking around in the dark with like flashlights. And the camera tends to get a little shaky. I personally found the movie to be kind of dizzying at some points. And I should clarify that this is not a horror movie. It's not people getting picked off one by one. It's more of a thriller. The movie relied on jump scares that were mostly predictable. When the camera lingers on a shot pointlessly and there's no music playing, it's because something's about to happen. There were 2 scenes involving a knife that made me cringe a bit, but outside of that, nothing really affected me in this movie. All the surprises were fairly predictable, like all the times that someone got saved at the last second. And there's some times where the movie just gets really silly. Like, the villain is intimidating at first, but by the time you get to his 4th monologue, it's hard to take him seriously. And that last or second to last scene, like, I hope that was intended to be funny, because it was. In the end, The Purge isn't a bad movie, and I apologize if it seems like I'm picking on it, but I just wasn't able to buy what the movie was selling. If I can say a few nice things about it, it does bring up an interesting moral dilemma, and the performances are pretty solid, actually, but no one's going to see this for the acting, so that doesn't really mean much. If you're interested in The Purge, it would make for a half-decent rental if you were to watch like a group of friends and kind of make fun of some of the sillier moments of the movie. And I should mention that I really did like the ending. I mean, it did make me laugh, but I still liked it. But that's my review of The Purge. Tell me what you thought of the movie and its premise, and if you like this review and you want to see more, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. One more thing, though. What's with the emphasis on murder? Like, no one wants to steal anything during this Purge. No one wants an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Nintendo, whatever the devices will be called in 2022, whenever the movie took place. Like, And I'm going to plug something. I was on this podcast 2 weeks ago called 18 and Balding. It's something that this kid on my campus does, and he had me on, and then we kind of just came on, talked about some stuff, and then the conversation kind of turned to movies. We talked about plot twists, some of my favorite movies of last year, some of the worst movies of last year. It was pretty fun. I'll put a link in the description, so if that sounds like something you're interested in, please check it out.